I think if you look at England's record over the last couple of years, I think I read something the other day that they haven't lost back-to-back ODIs in England for quite some time. So, and if you look at their trend, they tend to bounce back and go ultra aggressive as well. So we're ready for that. We're expecting them to come out ultra hard and take the game on.
You don't know how sports fans are going to react. I think they're entitled to have their own view. Just because punishment was handed out and the two guys served their punishment doesn't mean that they're going to be accepted back in to the cricket community straight away with open arms. It'll take time.
Cricket's oldest rivalry gets ready for another chapter to be added in its rich cricketing history as England and Australia ready to descend at Lord's one more time. It's a great record that England have against Australia of late. It's a great record that Australia have against England in World Cups. And whenever it's England v Australia, you can expect there to be just a bit more than what you actually see on the field. This is ESPNcricinfo Matchday UK 2019. We're building up to a massive contest for England, who see themselves now in a slightly tricky position, having to play the other three in the top four of the tournament as they close their league stage of the campaign. And like Aaron Finch pointed out, they haven't lost back-to-back games in England in a long time. But if it is to happen, it'll probably happen against Australia. So Michael Hussey hopes, and Murali Karthik is here as well. And there's a different feeling to England v Australia, even if it comes in the form of a World Cup.
It's always it's a great contest. England have been number one team in the world for a couple of years now. They've come into this tournament favourites, lost a couple that probably we didn't expect them to. So there's certainly a bit of pressure there for them. But it's just another really important game for both teams. You can build it up all we want on the external, but from a player's point of view, it's just another really important game. Go out there, give your best effort, and then hopefully Australia comes out. I mean, hopefully it's a great contest.
Yes, of course. I got that. That slight slip. What has that result done, Murali Karthik? Sri Lanka beating England to now set them with 3 games against Australia, India and New Zealand. In the meantime, Pakistan have picked up a win, Bangladesh have picked up a win. They're hot on the heels of England, just outside of the top 4.
Just spice things up. It hasn't run the course as everybody thought. You expected that some of the tougher teams or the top teams would just blaze through the other teams. I think that hasn't happened, which is good for the tournament. I think it's if it had happened to India or Australia, I would have said the same. It's not just because it's happened to England. It's just that I was surprised that it happened to England because coming in as pre-tournament favourites, I did have... see, these guys keep going on about it's coming home, it's coming home. Every time they go on about it, nothing comes home.
Which guys? We haven't heard of any of them on our
talking
show,
about,
have we?
We're talking about the English. No. I was there during the Football World Cup in England and it was the same atmosphere. It's coming home, it was coming home. I thought possibly the only thing which came home was British Airways with its players back home.
Oh, God. I think Karthik's doing the honours on behalf of Mike Hussey today.
Look, they've got a gun side.
Yeah.
But the thing is that with the gun side, they've also shown that they're beatable. And beatable by 2 teams whom you didn't expect them to beat. So that has left a few chinks in their own armory for them to think. Yes, pressure makes everybody human. You could have 1 to 11, all of them can bat, but under pressure, I'm not having a go at Moeen Ali, but possibly just the fact that he played a few shots, Jofra Archer playing a shot tells you that they do succumb to pressure. So that is something which Australia are very good at zeroing in on.
All right.
They hone in on those weaknesses of people. So I'm looking forward to this.
What's also happened in the build-up to this game is, of course, comments that Owen Morgan has made after being asked by some very gentle reporters on what the reception should be or ought to be for Steve Smith and David Warner, given what we saw in the India-Australia game and given how Virat Kohli chose to respond in a rather statesman-like way and didn't quite appreciate the Indian fans having a go at Smith and Warner. Owen Morgan seems to have a different view, says the fans are entitled to what they want to do and it's not his business to decide whether they should cheer or jeer the Australian teammates. Now, let's just have a look at Shane Warne's reply to that and that'll give us a little more bite. Regarding the fans at Lord's and booing Smith and Warner, I don't like any players being booed in any sport, but if the fans who pay their money want to, then they're entitled to. Go for it. Do it at your own peril. As I know, it will not affect them, but it could inspire them. Yes, it's okay. It's warning. Whatever he says. From now on, it will be effect. Do we have a little extra flavour here now with the English crowd wanting to be unforgiving to
I'm sure, I know the players are expecting it and they've prepared for it, so I'm sure they're going to cop it. One thing I will disagree with in that tweet from Warney is that the fans are entitled, they pay their money and they're entitled to come in and do whatever they want. I don't agree with that. I don't like booing myself. Yeah. I don't necessarily, not totally against it, like if people want to do it, but if they start getting abusive, just because you pay your money to come and watch a sporting event doesn't give you the right to be abusive to the people on the field. So I'm sure there's going to be some booing out there. I don't personally like it that much, but not going to be able to stop it. But if it goes further than that and becomes abuse, then I think that's crossing the line.
Well, we do have the organisers who've come out with a statement saying the stewards in the ground have been told the difference between, or the line between banter and abuse. So, but you can expect a little bit of needle. You can expect an atmosphere at Lord's. And let's go to Lord's now, where Melinda Farrell is there, and she's with the poster boy of the MCC in Graham Swan. He's one of the few men who can actually jacket his button as well when he's wearing that tie. Mel, all yours.
He's been preening himself ever since he got here. He can't stop himself. Swanee, you look very, very
so
MCC. Much. That's okay. What have you made of this whole thing? Owen Morgan saying that, crowds are going to do what crowds are going to do.
Well, to be honest, I'm absolutely sick and tired to the teeth of it. The fact that reporters are still asking questions, the fact that people can't see the wood from the trees. Huss is right. If it's abuse, get them out. Don't come to the ground. If you want to boo and you want to be boorish and yobbish, don't go to a sports match. Boorish and yobbish behaviour is the whole reason that David Warner will be booed, for being boorish and yobbish. If you can't see the irony in that, you don't deserve to be at a sporting fixture, do you? Have a bit of humour about it. If you could, a couple of guys dressed as sandpaper blocks at Bristol, that's funny. Be English and make a joke about it. Make this all go away. Owen Morgan is completely wrong, in my opinion, to say the crowd can do what the crowd want to do. That's basically inciting them. That's the sort of thing that politicians do when they want a crowd to do something. It's wrong. If you're going to turn up and boo, you shouldn't be here, and you're a disgrace to the English game, I think.
I don't think that's what he was saying. I think he was saying...
He wasn't exactly going away from it, though,
was
he?
No, he wasn't. I think he was saying it's not up to him to tell them that. Well, one thing I would point out the difference, with Virat Kohli, that where he actually said something, it had crossed the line from the booing, which I don't like anyway, I never do. It crossed the line from booing. The crowd was actually yelling, cheat, 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 cheat.
But what's the difference? He did cheat.
Yeah, he did.
But booing is more boorish than saying cheat. You're pointing out what he did by saying cheat. If you get my point. Don't do it either. Be humorous about it, or don't do it at all.
Can there be a humorous boo?
No, because it's not. It's a joke. There's not. And to be honest, Virat Kohli, by going out and doing something, if you're in a position to make a change for the better of the game and you do it, it's why Virat Kohli is one of my favourite human beings at the moment. I think Owen Morgan's in a similar position. He could easily say, I can't stop the crowd from doing it, but personally, I definitely don't want to hear booing.
Well,
so that's something he could have, but he refused to do that.
One thing you can't have today. One thing you can't have today is anyone cheering Joe Root, then, because they might get kicked out of the ground. Root.
Okay, why don't the two of you move on now, Mel? And I think the Aussie in you is finally coming out after months of objectivity. And maybe you can tell me a bit more. It looks gloomy, Mel, outside Lord's, and you also were observing Jofra Archer having a late fitness test this morning.
Yeah, he didn't bowl or field yesterday at training and was complaining of some tightness in his left side. So there was a few jitters of nerves going around the ground when people realised that he was out there having a fitness test to bowl through precautionary. They've said he's fit to play, but you really don't want to be worried about Jofra Archer at this point, do you?
There's nothing wrong with Jofra Archer, I tell you. I don't know many fast bowlers who wake up on days like this, overcast, muggy, swingy bowling days, and are still stiff. The day before the sun's out, I tell you what, coach, can't really bowl today in the nets. When it's like this, everyone's suddenly fit as a fiddle. There's nothing wrong with Jofra Archer, he'll be fast today.
But what I would say is England's biggest opponent in as much as it is Australia. Is it pressure? Is that their big opponent today as well?
No, I don't think it is. I think they've actually taken the pressure off themselves by playing so badly against Sri Lanka with the bat. Honestly, we heard the stat there that they haven't lost back-to-back games in so long because they sit down and reassess and bounce back. Owen Morgan said after the game that they got their tactics right, they just didn't execute their plans properly. I disagree with that completely. If you've been following this, you'll know that they just weren't aggressive enough. They weren't proactive enough. I think they have to be against Australia. Australia don't enjoy that. If they do that today, they will win the game. If they don't, Australia are very formidable opponents.
Yeah, they are. I mean, if they're as feisty a mood as the two of us are today...
I'm feisty today.
It should be good, yes.
it's not like you need any more incentive to be feisty, Swanee, but what we are hearing is maybe, just maybe Moeen Ali maybe drop today. So wind up nicely. We'll come back to you once we have confirmation of that. Graham Swan and Mel Farrell will be with us. But it's England v Australia, and there's plenty more going on in the world of social media as well. Let's quickly go to Anubhav, who I'm sure has us covered. All yours.
Thank you so much, Ronak. England versus Australia, no big deal, low-key encounter, not much happening on social media, said absolutely no one ever. Now, if you don't trust me, consider trusting Michael Vaughan, who believes that this is the biggest encounter in world cricket and says that he's slightly nervous, truth be told. Now, one man who might actually help him calm his nerves is England's Joss Buttler, who, according to Justin Langer, is the new MS Dhoni of world cricket. And he says, I hope he gets a duck in this game, obviously, but he's an unbelievable athlete, an incredible finisher. He's the new MS Dhoni of world cricket. Now, if the English have Joss Buttler, the Aussies have Steve Smith, who's been taking his batting to new and bizarre locations. Now, if you thought Steve Smith batting in his hotel room at 7 o'clock in the morning was strange, Justin Langer revealed to us that he's often known to bat in the hotel shower as well. Michael Hussey, rumour has it that he picked up this habit from you.
Is it
Well,
true?
firstly, I'm not sure how Justin Langer knows that Steve Smith does shadow batting in the shower. I hope he doesn't know. But he's very obsessive, Steve Smith, about his batting. Are
Is
you
the
asking
rumour
me if
true?
I
Yes,
did that?
is the rumour
No,
true?
I've never batted in the shower. Never.
I couldn't understand one thing. How can he shadow practice in the shower? Won't the bat get wet?
You don't need a
it's
bat,
without
it's
the
just
bat,
shadow
it's just
batting.
shadow.
It's a bit
So how
like-
did he hear then? How did Justin Langer hear?
Well, they must have been talking about it in the dressing room.
And that's exactly what Steve Smith is wondering as well. He says, I don't know how he's spying on me in the shower. Good on him. And then very nonchalantly says that he's known to play a few shots here and there. But let's leave it there. Up next, we've got Rubal Hussain, who's responding to a comment that Gulbuddin Naib had made during the press conference before the Bangladesh-Afghanistan game, where Naib had said that we are drowning, but we'll make sure we take Bangladesh along with us. And then Rubal Hussain says, sorry Gulbuddin, but we're not interested in joining you in such a journey. So shame that Gulbuddin wasn't quite able to walk the talk there. Now, one man who's been walking the talk, or marching the talk, I should say, has been the West Indies' Sheldon Cottrell. Now, the man who had posted the video of the two kids doing the Cottrell celebration asked Sheldon Cottrell on Twitter if he knows where he can buy the kids a West Indies jersey with Cottrell 19 on the back. And then Sheldon Cottrell responded saying, I'm looking into it, I'm looking into this for you, and also proceeded to invite them to the West Indies' next game against India in Manchester. Absolute class act there. Now, another West Indies who's been winning quite a few hearts has been Carlos Brathwaite, who asked, where can I get a bat fixed in Manchester? And then the New Zealand's Ish Sodhi responded saying, why is yours still on fire? I'm actually pretty baffled here. Like, how is there so much sweetness on social media? So let's just temper all that sweetness with a bit of spice and salt. We've got Russell Arnold, who says, Aussie, 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 come on now, do your bit. Hashtag save the world.
I tell you what, there seems to be a general sense of the world wanting England to almost slip up on this. I don't know if that happens if the Australian teams might have felt it, but they were champion teams. Somehow everyone seems to be taking a lot of delight in England's downfall.
Well, if I make a comment on Russell Arnold,
Yeah.
he's now actually immigrated
Yes.
to Australia. He's an Australian citizen now, so he every chance he gets is barracking for Australia as hard as he can.
All right, let's take a short break now. On the other side, we're going to be back with news from the toss set Lords. Big game coming up, so stay with us on ESPNcricinfo Matchday UK 2019.
So coming into the World Cup final in Barbados, it was a really frustrating morning because the showers just kept rolling in. So there'd be a big lot of rain come through, and then it'd clear up, and then rain would come through again. And so it was really frustrating. We were just waiting. Every player just wanted to start the big final.
In their third consecutive World Cup final, Australia faced Sri Lanka in gloomy Barbados in 2007. But minutes before the first ball, the man who would go on to play one of the greatest World Cup innings ever wasn't exactly warmed up.
And eventually the rain did stop after a few hours, and the umpires came into our dressing room quickly and said, right, we're starting in 10 or 15 minutes. We were batting first, and so we were looking around for Matty Hayden and Adam Gilchrist, our opening partnership, and we found Matty Hayden, no worries, and gave him the news, and but we couldn't find Adam Gilchrist. We were looking everywhere, in the dressing room, in the lunchroom, out the back at the nets. No one could find Gilly, and time's obviously ticking away before the start of the game. So eventually someone was running into the gym at the back of the dressing rooms there, and they found Adam Gilchrist lying sound asleep, literally 5 minutes before the World Cup final started, on one of the benches. So we had to wake him up quickly, telling the game was starting, get your pads on, and he literally had to get the pads on and race straight out there into the game. And history will suggest it was one of the best World Cup innings of all time. He made 149 and pretty much single-handedly took the game away from Sri Lanka.
Want to do something easier? Play Cricket Picks, the new predictor game from ESPNcricinfo. Make predictions, pick your winners, and track your progress throughout the tournament. Go to ESPNcricinfo.com/cricketpicks and play today.
All right, big game. Will England win the toss? And if they do, what are they going to do? Let's go to that toss now. Both captains with Nasser Hussain for viewers in the Caribbean. And viewers on ESPNcricinfo, stay right with us. We continue our conversation with Mike Hussey and Murali Karthik. We'll hear from Graham Swan and Mel Farrell in just a bit too. There's talk about Nathan Lyon just a little while back marking his run-up. You picked him yesterday as either Zampa or Lyon. If he does play, would that be a good selection for you? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, he's a world-class off-spinner. He's got great control and can hold England a bit better, I think. I think Zampa, the last game against Bangladesh, Nottingham, it was an improved performance, but he's just not looking that dangerous of picking up those wickets through the middle overs. So perhaps I would look to give him a bit of a break and see how Nathan Lyon goes. It's going to be interesting at the toss, though, because as we saw in the pictures over at London, it's quite overcast. So quite often at Lords, you don't so much look at the pitch, you look at the overhead conditions. And if it is quite overcast and humid, as Swanee was suggesting, maybe the team who wins the toss might look to have a bowl first.
Even so, the other day between Pakistan and South Africa too, we did see, if you just see out that first hour, you can pose a 300 plus score, which now as this World Cup is developing, seems to be enough. Maybe 260, 270 is enough.
Yeah, it depends on the conditions and how you bowl as well. The other day when South Africa were bowling especially, and the way Pakistan bowled was completely different. There were quite a few times when Ngidi and the others were just coming and floating the ball up there. At Lords, if you're just coming and floating the ball up there with the others having the intent to have a go at you, then best of luck to you. Again, if you hit those good lengths with the conditions, it looked, and it was not an easy surface, to be very honest. That's what my feeling was sitting here. With regards to the Australian team, I think I would be very happy if Nathan Lyon got a game because of the fact that quite a few left-handers. He's, as Huss said, a world-class off-spinner. And you need wickets. You need wickets, especially against this England batting lineup. You want wickets in the middle. Is this talk of the conditions a bit overrated about how much the ball moves? Even if it does move, we've seen it move for a relatively brief period. And if you don't get wickets in there, then as a bowling team, you find yourselves under pressure suddenly.
Possibly. I think it's possibly a good point, particularly because we haven't seen the white ball do all that much. Yeah. If it was a test match and it was a red ball, then I would consider it might do a lot more, and the overhead conditions are more meaningful. But yeah, it's hard to judge from so far away, but it'll be interesting to see that first half an hour to see how much the ball actually does do.
Yeah, sometimes it's just more fun to lose a toss. Yeah. I think. Yeah. If you are England, would you rather lose this toss, Karthik? If you are England, would you rather lose this toss?
I would want to win the toss, to be very honest. Whatever team...
bowl, put yourself again under the pressure of a chase after...
No, because the overhead suggests that. The overhead suggests that you bowl, and if you... It depends again on the team. For me, I actually would want Moeen Ali to open and get Liam Plunkett in, but I don't think that's going to happen.
We'll see if England make any changes at all in this game. And they have indeed won the toss, so they've done that bit right, have Owen Morgan's team, and they decided they're going to have a bowl first. They're going to put themselves in the pressure of a chase yet again, have conditions dictators. Let's go straight to Lords now, where we also have confirmation that it is the same team that is playing. So Moeen Ali stays. There were initial words from rumours from the ground that maybe Liam Plunkett might be included. So Graham Swan has his fist all set. Mel Farrell, England are having a bowl first. They are unchanged as far as Australia are concerned. I'll come to Mike Hussey with that, with Nathan Lyon playing. So we've got two off spinners in this game, and you've got one next to you. Take it away.
I do, and I'm surely you're not just happy to have Mo there.
Moeen Ali is in the team. Da, da, da. Sorry, Rob.
You don't have to. No one ever has to be sorry for loving Moeen Ali.
I love the man.
That should be a prerequisite for living. But he's still there, obviously showing confidence in him. England going in unchanged. Happy with that?
Absolutely, because the England team that they've put out with the two spinners playing is the recipe for success. It's what they've done so well over 2 years. They lost track of that. People in this country blaming Moeen Ali for the last game. These short-sighted commentators who just don't remember how aggressive the rest of the team had been for 2 years. He was the only one who showed any productivity, any proactivity in the last game. So Mo is back. Yes, Mo stays. What I can say is England are going to bowl first. It's just started spotting very slightly. There's a tiny bit of moisture, nowhere near enough to stop the start of the game, but enough to get a bit of movement from that Kookaburra white ball. And everybody knows Australians cannot play a ball that swings or seams. They are useless against a lateral moving ball. Only Mike and Dave Hussey were the only people I know who could do it. They're not playing, so I'd expect Australia 200 all out.
Oh my gosh, he is such a crawler. So. Now, look, one thing I will just ask you, a bit of a green tinge on the pitch.
Yes.
Is that going to make any difference? Do you think? You know what it's like here?
Lords is normally a good wicket. If there is a green tinge, it's the only thing that will help a white Kookaburra ball. A red Duke's ball, like Huss said, will do a lot. It's an English ball. It's well made. It's got a great bit of heritage behind it. The Australian factory made Kookaburra does nothing. So I don't think, like Huss said, I don't think it'll make a massive difference to the overhead conditions. Maybe the first 10, 15 overs that could be huge when you think that Australia's total so far have been based on Warner and Finch. I think Finch is the huge wicket here. If Jofra Archer can be aggressive, up and at him at Finch, stop him getting those booming drives away, try and entice him into one of those pull shots that's not quite short enough. Get Finch early, I think that sends a bit of a shockwave through the Australian team.
Okay, well, I'm going to sort him out, but I'm going to throw it back to you guys because I know Mike Hussey is going to...
She lives in Birmingham, she's English now.
I'm neutral, but I know Mike Hussey is going to be there going, Nathan Lyon's in the team.
Well, no, I think the fact that Lyon's there is good. For Australia, I think it's good.
Would you like to return the compliment of Graham Swan?
I'd like to disagree with most things Swanee say,
Yes.
but one thing that I would like to agree with him on is I agree that the opening partnership for Australia is the key partnership. All of Australia's big scores have been based around Warner and Finch getting off to such a good start. So I think England have got off to a good start here in winning the toss. If it is going to do anything early, it's going to do it in that first half an hour. If they can pick up Warner and Finch early, then I think it puts England in a huge positive position for this match. But easier said than done at the moment because they've both been playing extremely well. And that white ball hasn't been doing too much. So Australia will be hoping for another good positive start from particularly Warner and Finch.
The changes that have been made, though, come lower down the order. And that's Jason Beredov's inclusion for Nathan Coulter-Nile and Nathan Lyon for Adam Zampa.
Yeah, I'm happy with the Nathan Lyon position in the team. I think that's a good addition. He's a very clever bowler. I'm a little bit surprised about the Behrendorff inclusion, if I'm being honest. I thought Nathan Coulter-Nile, although he's not been dominant, he's been improving each game and getting a little bit better. So perhaps they're thinking Behrendorff, he can bowl, down the slope and try and swing the ball nice and early. Again, it'll be interesting whether they give him the new ball or he bowls first change. He's much better with the new ball when he can get some swing. But do they break up the Stark-Cummins combination? I'm not sure. So that's why I'm surprised that Behrendorff has come in.
All right, you're happy with the Nathan Lyon inclusion. Also, I've heard this talk of Lords of one boundary being bigger. Therefore, spinner, if you have a good spinner who can control it, being quite a handy weapon.
It depends which part of the surface they get to, because the more you go towards the visiting dressing room, the wickets tend to be a lot flatter, and obviously that makes it, even if you play the centre wicket, the sides are quite small. So imagine moving, obviously makes a difference, but once you come towards the home dressing room, the wickets start doing a bit more because of the slope. And over here, I don't think it's got anything to do with the fact that a better spinner can control the sides. I just think that the better spinner should play. Yeah. And Nathan Lyon, I'm surprised that a quality spinner like him hasn't played enough one-day cricket for Australia for whatever reasons. I'm just happy that today, against England, during those middle overs with the left-handers, they've picked him.
There are left-handers in this team. We'll just have a look at that as the England team comes before you, and you'll know what Nathan Lyon has to bowl to. He's got Owen Morgan, Ben Stokes, Moeen Ali. As we just look at the same team that lost to Sri Lanka, James Vince is still there as Jason Roy remains sidelined. He was doing some light sprints, which is a good sign for England. But yes, Huss, you make no point.
No, it's a very good team, that England team. Obviously, they'd love Jason Roy there at the top of the order. Vince has you know, to be honest, struggled a little bit. He is a good player, but he hasn't been able to perform as yet. But, you know, with class players, it's going to come at some stage. But I think it's a very well-balanced English team. Excellent batting. They've got power. They've got guys that can work it around. 2 spinners in there. Some good pace options. It's a very good team.
And they're still going to lose today.
Oh, yeah, by a couple of runs, yeah.
Right. We'll be back with more. Mike Hussey, Murli Karthik, Graham Swan, Mel Farrell. Stay with us on ESPNcricinfo Matchday UK 2019.
L is for Lords. A venue with such a heavy history that the ground actually slopes to one side. England has hosted 4 World Cups so far, and Lords has hosted all 4 finals. It's got the most famous balcony in cricket, and winning the final here guarantees the cricket world's greatest photo op. Clive Lloyd has got 2 of these photographs, while Kapil Dev and Steve Waugh have 1 each. What about the hosts? England actually have felt at home at the home of cricket in World Cup games, winning 4 out of 5 here. Unfortunately, the one that they lost was the one they would have given anything to win, the final in 1979.
Fast approaching the first ball at Lords in what is a big game for England and of course for Australia too, but more for the hosts. So let's go back to Lords now. Final comments from Graham Swan, who's with Mel Farrell. I wonder what Swan would be telling the English boys right now, Mel, to just pump them up given the love that he and the rest of England have for Australia.
So much love for Australia, so much love for Australia. Do they love Australia so much they're going to let them get away with this one, Swanee?
No, I don't think they do. Well, I certainly know we don't. We love New Zealand. It's like Australia without the chip on its shoulder. It's great. I think so. I won't lie to you. I'm a bit nervous about the way England are approaching their cricket. I think they are showing signs of the pressure of the World Cup, of being favourites. I don't think they're handling it all that well. But after losing to Sri Lanka, who better to play than Australia? Give a kick at the backside, and let's face it, the Aussies aren't the team they were. Easy win for England.
No team is the team that they were. That's the nature of changing a team. Don't listen to Swanee. I reckon I'm staying behind England. I think England are going to bounce back.
Final word for Mike Hussey from you, Swanee.
Australia deep down.
In case this is going to be hard watching for him.
Final words for Huss. Huss, you know I love you. I always will. I'm sorry we beat you all the time in the Ashes, but we're going to beat you again today. But we'll have a beer at some point.
I look forward to that, Swanee. I look forward to that. I don't look forward to England winning today, though, I must admit. If England do win today, can we just not go back to Swanee? Because he is going to be absolutely unbearable.
You promise to be gracious in victory,
I've got to
Swanee?
put up with him. I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. I have to put up with this.
All right.
If England win, I'll just dance in the street. I won't talk. I'll just get outside the Grace Gates and dance.
That's
for 20
impossible
minutes
for Swanee not to talk.
Yeah, well, yeah. We'll take you on your word, Swanee. Let's see if you actually don't talk. But Mel Farrell and Graham Swan, thank you very much. They're joining us from outside Lords and probably the least picturesque spot at the home of cricket. But it'll hopefully get better when we join them at half-time. Right, final word from Karthik and Huss before we leave our viewers in the Caribbean. A score that an under-pressure England would like to keep Australia to, not chase too much.
I think anything less than 300, they'll be happy.
Less than 300? 300 is a big number these days.
Yeah, I'd be very happy with 300, to be honest. I think, with the overhead conditions, I'm a little bit nervous about the start. Everyone's talking about Jofra Archer, but I think the one you need to watch is Chris Wokes. He's someone, if the conditions are right, can get that ball to move. He's got a good record against David Warner in recent times.
We'll
so
keep an
that's
eye
an
on
interesting
Wokes
matchup.
v Warner, and he was good with the new ball against Sri Lanka as well. This is where we leave viewers in the Caribbean. We'll be back with mid-innings analysis, so do join us then. It's England v Australia. Enjoy it. There's a lot on the line, and there are a lot of teams that are hoping that Australia do the number on England for the sake of this tournament. Viewers on ESPNcricinfo, stay right with us. We'll continue build up right till the first ball. Yep, stay with us, and we are going to talk to Huss and Karthik as the first ball comes upon us. And let's just talk about the impact of of the rest of the England bowling. You making a point on Chris Woakes and how he's almost quietly gone about his gig, and at some point you think he's going to become the more significant threat. Yeah.
Well, just because all the focus has been on Jofra Archer, his pace, his bounce, and yes, that's very important for England. But to have someone to complement him at the other end is also really important. And if the conditions are right, which they appear to be at Lord's today, early on, if he can get that ball in the right area and get it moving around, you have bowlers around the world that you just don't feel comfortable with. And Warner's obviously been in pretty good touch for Australia, but his record against Warner, I think he's got him out 3 out of his last 6 times in one-day internationals. So that's a really good matchup. Mark Wood's been in good touch as well. Be interesting to see how the Aussies go about the spinners. They've been generally quite ultra-aggressive against spinners, but the reason why they've been able to be aggressive is because they've had Finch and Warner get Australia off to such good starts. So I know we keep saying it, but those starts are just going to be so important for Australia. Because, to be honest, Khawaja's not been that convincing.
Yes.
He had a good knock the last game. Smith's been pretty good, but then Maxwell, we don't know what we're going to get on any given day. There's Stoinis, again, not convincing so far. Alex Carey's been okay.
It's almost like the India argument, the India conversation. You get 1 or 2 of those top 2 or 3 and there are vulnerabilities.
Exactly right. There's a few little uncertainties there. I'm not saying they're not good players. They're very good players, but there's uncertainties there. So, yeah, I just see that first 10 overs going to be crucial again.
Mm-hmm. How do you get Warner and Finch out, sort of form that they've been in?
Look, to Warner, just keep it simple. I always feel that when you start off, just keep the channel between middle and leg, taking it away from him, because he wants to feel bat on ball. And over there, he's always been uncomfortable. He opens up and gets quite a few leading edges early doors. With Finch, again, wicket to wicket, just outside the off stump, just back of a length. I think that's how you want to start with them. You don't want to try too many different things. You give some width, they're going to drive you, they're going to cut you. You bowl up, Finch doesn't mind going downtown. But with the slope can exaggerate a few things. So if you hit the right spot there, you can always be in trouble, especially with the overheads. Once the sun comes out, the slope is immaterial.
Yeah. There are some particularly good fast bowlers on display when these two teams come together. And perhaps the 2 fast bowling attacks to look out for. In Mark Wood and Jofra Archer, we've seen 2 bowlers that have gone at a miserly average and got between them 11 wickets in 4 matches. On the other side, what we have in Stark and Cummins, who we think have been this big threat in the World Cup so far, but they've just got the 6 wickets between them. That's bowling in tandem. So just looking at bowling partnerships, I was wondering what those numbers are telling me, because it surely should have been different.
I was confused.
Yeah.
Confused to see that.
Now we've figured it out. It's about how they bowl in tandem. So what we've discovered from that is Stark and Cummins are very good, but in isolation, when spread out. Perhaps that's just how they're being used.
Yeah, and maybe that's why Jason Behrendorff's come into the team for Australia. Yeah. Maybe they're going to split those 2 up and bring Behrendorff on with the new ball. We'll have to wait and see on that one later on in the day. But
even Wood and Jofra Archer aren't necessarily bowling a lot in tandem, perhaps at the death a little more, but certainly not with the new ball.
No, it's generally Chris Woakes who gets the new ball. Mark Wood is generally seen as the number 3 bowler. And for me, a big part of me, I don't know, today was thinking James Vince has not been convincing at all. Moeen Ali, top of the pile, and get Liam Plunkett in. That was a big part of me, because he does bat well, and with the left-right combination, you never know, it might trouble Mitchell Stark and Pat Cummins.
What we are looking at right now is Jofra Archer's dot ball percentage at the death, which again comes to another part of Australia's game that has been under the scanner, Huss, and that's how they finish. They tend to start well, but how they finish, would there be a different role played by anyone in the middle? David Warner's already assumed a slightly different role, but if you are to fix that one issue and give someone responsibility batting at the death, does that only fall to Glenn Maxwell?
Well, they want others to chip in as well, but I think it's probably not been as successful for Australia because the top 2 have been doing such a good job, and they've been batting probably into that period quite a few games anyway. It was interesting to see on that list that they're all express bowlers, probably other than Bolt, who's still pushing 140, but all the others with the best dot ball percentage are all that searing pace. So that's an interesting stat.
And Marcus Stoinis is someone you want a little more out of, you think, with bat more than ball?
With both, but yeah, certainly with the bat. You're talking about those finishes. Yes. He is someone that has got unbelievable power, but the problem is when he first comes in, he can chew up quite a few deliveries. So I'd love to see him come in, be a little bit busy to get himself in to start with, rotate the strike a little bit better, and then once he's in, he can smash anyone out of the park. So he's an important player.
Yeah, what we do have is also a great matchup in terms of the quality of two premier batsmen of the era, and Joe Root and Steve Smith. So that's something else you'll get to see when you see two top batsmen. They tend to rise to the occasion, and the occasion is grand when it's England v Australia. Who are you going to pick though? That's hard work right now, given the state of England and also the Australian side with its vulnerabilities, in spite of how good they've been and how they've picked up points. We've made picking a lot easier too, though, in this World Cup. Here's ESPNcricinfo Cricket Picks.
Put your tipping to the test. Play Cricket Picks, the new predictor game from ESPNcricinfo. Make predictions and track your progress throughout the tournament. The easiest thing you'll do all day. Go to ESPNcricinfo.com/cricketpicks and play today.
I'm expecting a split verdict, and I do see that. Ajit Agarkar, Dan Vittori and Graham Swan going for England. Karthik, Mike Hussey, Albie Morkel, Shahryar and Darren Ganga going Australia. So that's a reasonable split. Anyone wanting to revisit their stands after the toss has been decided, after the teams are known? Murli Karthik?
You don't change your support for teams.
Oh, this is support, is it? It's not objective analysis, it's
Whatever
support.
you can say. So, support based on objective analysis.
Ah, that's very clever. So you are going for Australia, Mike Hussey?
I've been thinking about it a lot, and I think that Australia's top players, so let's look at, say, Warner, Finch, Smith,
Yes.
Cummins, Stark,
Cummins.
probably just outweigh England's top players of, say, Joe Root and Johnny Bairstow, Jofra Archer, etc.
Yes.
But I do feel as though England have more depth. Guys like, through the middle order like Morgan and Butler, Stokes are probably slightly better than what Australia has to offer. Plus, I'm worried about Australia's 3, 4, 5th bowler. So I feel as though Australia's top players are slightly superior, but England have more depth. So
I'd be very curious to see at the end of this game how much the others have done. Let's cancel
Good
the
point.
top 5 out, and then let's see whether a Moeen Ali or a James Vince or somebody else has just sort of done the business, and maybe a Mark Wood, and then we'll compare that in Australia. Will a Maxwell or a Marcus Stoinis or an Usman Khawaja, perhaps that could be the difference. We'll pick that up with Mike Hussey and Murli Karthik. But in the meantime, it's not only the cricket that you should be following. We are following every ball, and you know what? We're also going on to play the World Cup in our own way as the match happens on Hotstar Watch and Play, where you don't just watch the match, you play it as well, live alongside your favorite cricketer. You'll have Karthik and Huss's inputs on that too. So get on to Hotstar Watch and Play. And moreover, there's plenty more that we've actually got ready for you. If you are a sports fan, a big sports buff, well beyond cricket, we're presenting the LinkedIn ESPN.in Office Sports Quiz. Just get your Office buddy and sign up if you want to stand a chance to win a trip to England and watch the English League live. That's where you need to go. So register now for the LinkedIn ESPN.in Sports Quiz. Right, final words from Hassan Karthik. You've already said 300 is something you'd be happy with. You want to revise that? Or 300 is something that
I'll be
it's
happy
going to be
with
hard to chase these days.
I know, I'll be happy with that. If I can get there against England, I'll be happy with that.
You were getting that gut feeling that said Pakistan, even though you had picked South Africa on Sunday. Are you going to, what's your gut feeling saying
my
right
gut
now?
is a bit nervous actually at the moment, and I haven't felt nerves for quite a period of time. I'm not thinking about the end score. I'm thinking about the first 10 overs. If Australia get through the first 10 overs, then I think the 300 score will just take care of itself. So that's what I'm focusing on at the moment, just that first 10.
Very well. Well, we know the numbers. England haven't lost 2 ODIs in a row in a long time. So that doesn't happen. They're very proud of how they play their cricket these days. And it was Australia that last inflicted upon them this defeat. Aaron Finch has fond memories of playing this fixture. Last World Cup, the opening game, he was man of the match. He enjoys taking the English on. And let's see how many he's got at the end of this first innings. Thanks very much to Murli Karthik and Michael Hussey. We'll get their thoughts on our mid-innings show, where we hope to have your company as well for ESPNcricinfo Match Day.